Kyle, have you ever had a moment when your worldview or your approach to life changed in a big way?
Oh, that's a really good question, Emily. I mean, I feel like that's always happening, you know?
Yeah, but I guess like a concrete.
I'll say that meeting new people with different perspectives, I always try and keep an open mind. When I was younger, when I was in high school, I didn't really understand that. I didn't have the viewpoint that there are other people with viewpoints. Maybe not high school, maybe middle school. Yeah.
No, but I feel like that is a change in perspective. That the thing that it logically makes sense in my head doesn't necessarily going to be the next logical conclusion in someone else's.
Yeah. And so I think that was probably the biggest thing for me. And then, so from now on, when I meet new people, I try and see things from their perspective before I make judgment calls. And sometimes that gets me into trouble with people because people are like, why are you even giving that person the time of day? And it's well, because if we want to get to a compromise here or change someone's mind, we need to see where they're coming from.
I think that's good, Kyle.
Do you have one, Emily?
Didn't think about it when I wrote the question.
Okay, that's fair. We'll talk about that later. I think this is good fodder for friendship.
Welcome to Butter No Parsnips. Every week on Butter No Parsnips, your hosts Emily Moyers and Kyle Imperator take you on an adventure through the weird, wacky, wonderful, and sometimes even wicked world of one wayside word. Strange characters, delightful bits, and general joyousness abound. Join them as they test each other's etymological expertise.
Hey everybody, welcome to Butter No Parsnips. I'm Kyle Imperator.
And I'm Emily Moyers. Kyle, I have an interesting word today.
Emily, I'm down for some interesting conversation.
The word I have for you is koan, or koan. Koan. Most correctly, there's a line over the O, but in English, it's often just a diacritical-less O.
Yeah. Line over the O. I'm trying to think of languages that would use that. Is this some sort of indigenous language, possibly?
I mean, not in the West, which I assume is what you're thinking.
Partially, or I'm thinking it could be, I don't know, Samoan or Hawaiian or...
It is not. Hawaii's getting closer geographically.
Is it Japanese?
It is Japanese.
That was where, honestly, my mind went immediately, but I was like, nah, it can't be that.
It can be, and it is.
So it's Japanese, so I'm not going to get anything from the etymology based on what it is.
Certainly not.
Is this word, does this come from a sort of relevant period of time?
It is a relevant period of time. Well, no.
Okay.
No.
That's fair.
It's not historically tied to an era.
I'll ask one more question to which the answer is no before I ask for a hint. Is this a noun?
It is.
It is a noun.
Yes.
So something is
or a
koan or a koan. Emily, I'm struggling here. Please give me a hint.
The one-word clue I have for you is enigmatic.
Oh, enigmatic.
And the question I asked at the top is also a clue.
Enigmatic. Is a koan just something that changes your mind?
It certainly is. What kind of thing? But you've gotten half of it.
An event that changes your mind?
No.
I'll take a half correct.
Kyle, a koan is, in colloquial English usage, it is an unanswerable question or a confusing statement, sometimes intended to shift or expand one's perspective. But more specifically, in the context of Zen Buddhism, it is a paradoxical question, statement, or story which a student meditates on in their journey towards enlightenment.
Exciting.
Yes. So to give you an idea, a very iconic example of a koan is what is the sound of one hand clapping. That's the go-to.
Iconic.
Yeah.
Emily, I'm so interested in finding out more about this word.
Well, I'm so excited to tell you, Kyle, but to start with, what, if anything, do you know about Zen? It's okay if it's nothing.
I mean, I know Zen gardens. Is that related to Zen Buddhism?
Yes. Zen gardens, I think, originated as a practice of Zen Buddhism.
Okay. So that's probably what I can most closely link to the word Zen. I mean, I
That's
know
fair.
Zen as like kind of a catch-all for peace.
Do you like have an idea of how you've heard the word Zen used just colloquially?
Yeah, with regards to meditating.
Exactly, Kyle. Yeah. Exactly it. So Zen is a tradition that originally developed in China from around the 6th century onward, when the Indian Mahayana Buddhist tradition was brought to China and blended with Taoist philosophies there. The Buddhist sect that emerged was known as Chan. Chan is how we spell it in English. A Chinese word derived from the Sanskrit dhyana, which refers to a kind of profound meditation or contemplation or meditative state.
Sure.
Something in that realm. Meditation is a highly valued part of this practice as a way to get in touch with one's Buddha nature, that innate potential for enlightenment and higher existence that exists within all of us. Chan spread to Vietnam and to Korea and took root in Japan around the 13th century. The faith was always signified with the same Chinese character. The kanji writing system, which is originally Chinese, has been borrowed by several other languages. So they all used the same character. But in these writing systems where symbols represent ideas rather than sounds, the same character can be pronounced several different ways in different languages.
Does that lead it to like take on other meanings, like Zen itself to take on other inspirations?
It might take on different cultural connotations when it goes to different places, but like the character always refers to the same thing. It's just pronounced in different ways.
Oh, okay.
Because their characters don't equate to sound the way our letters do.
Sure, yeah.
So in Mandarin, that character is pronounced Chan. In Sino-Vietnamese pronunciation, it is Tien. In Sino-Korean, it is Sion. In Sino-Japanese, it is pronounced Zen. So it's all the same name, just pronounced different.
It's interesting that we get it from Japan and not from any of those other languages.
I think it is more of a thing in Japan, and I think also it got popular in the West post-World War II. And I think it was partially spurred by like there was a lot of like American-Japanese contact during that time.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That wasn't when it first came over, but that was when it started to like become more popular in the West. We'll talk about it later. So the Japanese pronunciations of Chinese kanji are called onyomi, and they are particularly relevant today because koan is the onyomi pronunciation of a Chinese term, which in Mandarin is pronounced gongan. This is a term which did not originate in a Buddhist context specifically, but just in general usage. And it is possibly a clipping from a longer phrase, gongfu xian du. The tones.
Honestly, it's better than I would ever have done.
Yeah, but it's because I abandoned all hope of the tones.
I know. That's rough.
All right, listen, I'm going to try it once, but it's going to sound sing-songy and bad and not how it should. Gongfu shi andu is, I think, how it is, but I know it's less ridiculous sounding than that.
Listen, you're trying, and that's all that matters.
That's it. That's all I can do is try. That phrase roughly means official documents of a public house.
Oh.
Yes.
Why? Your deed, like your tax record,
legal documents, or we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
So interesting note, that middle word she is the possessive. It's what makes it official documents of a public house, but the syntax is the reverse of how we'd say it in English. The Chinese puts the possessor first, the person who has it, and then the possession after, which is fun.
Does Spanish do that?
I was thinking it's sort of like if it was an apostrophe S. Like we put the possessor first if we're saying apostrophe S.
Yeah, yes.
So gong fu means public office. Gong by itself can mean public, communal, or official, but a lot of Chinese characters are flexible and can encompass a lot of meanings. So gong can also mean just, equitable, or impartial, or it can refer to a judge, ruler, or man of high status. That other word, andu, means official documents. This one's a little trickier because an literally refers to a table or countertop. But an is often used in a legal or government context to specifically refer to like a writing table used in legal or government work.
Gotcha. For
Used
like
in official kind of work.
writing laws or writing your tax receipts.
So with the understanding of the two words I just talked about, Kyle, do you think you can like cobble together what gong'an means?
Say the whole thing again.
The longer sentence that it might have been clipped from was gongfu shi an du, which roughly means official documents of a public office.
And the shi is of, and the on and on.
The on
and the
is the writing
tabletop.
table, and the
And the
gong
do.
is public or
what's do?
Do. It means documents.
Okay. So is the gong on? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that official? Oh, no. Is that public house?
Literally, you might translate it to something like judge's desk or governing desk, official desk, maybe.
Oh.
But this term has classically been used as a metonym. How can you remind us about metonyms?
Well, I mean, from what I remember when we did the episode on foulard,
Yes.
through metonymy, foulard was the material that the scarves were made of, and then the scarves were called foulard because that's the material that they were made of. So it's not necessarily part whole, like a quarter to the entire thing, but it's related in the sense that it's the material that it's made of is being used to refer to it as the thing. So something about it is being used to refer to the larger thing. Yeah.
Exactly. So in this case, a term that could literally refer to the desk instead refers to documents that come off that desk. So gong'an can mean things like public record or legal case. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. Great example of that term being used in this sense. There was a detective novel written in Chinese in the 1700s. We don't know the exact year and we don't know the author.
Detective novel in the 1700s?
Yes!
Like Sherlock Holmes?
Kinda. So it tells the story of 3 murder cases solved by the protagonist Judge D. It's often anglicized D-E-E, but sometimes D-I, because that's sort of closer to how we anglicize Chinese names. And he was like a judge / magistrate / lawman who solves murder cases. And the novel is titled D Gong'an, basically the cases of Judge D.
I like this fella. I like the cut of his jib. Tell me about his cases. Do you got any cases for me, Em?
The Double Murder at Dawn, The Strange Corpse, and The Poisoned Bride.
Oh, those all sound really good. Emily, I just want you to know there is a 2024 currently running Judge D's mystery television series.
Oh yeah,
because I will be watching.
The Chinese book was just one book that was, I think, loosely based on a real D. Further, way back in the, I think,
a real man.
1st century BC or something like that. But it was translated to English, and then the guy who translated it to English wrote so many more books about Judge D.
I love that.
He loved it. He was like, I'm going all in on this guy.
I'm picturing it like Murder, She Wrote, but in China.
Yes, truly. In Chan Buddhism, from we think around the 12th century onward, the word gong'an has been used to refer to certain stories or passages from older Chan literature, which became topics of discourse because they were difficult to understand.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Connection.
We're getting to it. Yeah. Chan and later Zen has a practice of discussing certain passages, either privately between master and student or in larger meetings for discussion. And that practice actually goes back to the 10th century, if not earlier, probably stemmed naturally from students just asking masters to explain passages they didn't understand.
Sure. But leading to fruitful conversation.
Absolutely.
That could change your perspective, perhaps.
Yes. And masters might ask their students to contemplate or comment on passages themselves, as part of their instruction. An example of one of these enigmatic stories from around the 12th century. It's a conversation between a Chinese Emperor Wu of Liang, who shows up in a lot of Buddhist legends because he was apparently a practitioner and promoter of Buddhism in his life. He's in this story speaking to the Bodhidharma, who's a very, I think, kind of the central figure in this sect of Buddhism. Emperor Wu asked the great teacher Bodhidharma, "What is the first principle of the holy teaching?" Bodhidharma said, "Vast emptiness, nothing holy." "Who are you standing here in front of me?" asked the emperor. "I don't know," said Bodhidharma.
Wow.
You can see how it's difficult.
It's a lot to contemplate there.
Yeah. There's a lot of passages like that in Chan literature where someone asks an enlightened monk a question and they reply with something seemingly absurd. And it's sort of something you have to grapple with on your journey.
That's like a really interesting way to teach because it invites conversation. It's like less preachy and more like, well, talk it out. Like,
yeah, or meditate on it.
Right. Yeah.
You know. Over time, there were stories like that one, which people kind of kept coming back to in discussions. Anyone studying Chan would learn these passages. Chan masters would like write commentaries on them, and they became integral sort of mini texts, almost like, mini bits of scripture, if you want to use that word, in this Buddhist tradition. Chan masters would sometimes compile together cases with their own commentaries on each one into collections, and plenty of these cases are still well known and well studied today. The passage I just read is from a 12th century Chinese collection, the Biyan Lu, translated to English as the Blue Cliff Record. Probably the most well-known text is the 13th century Gateless Gate, or Gateless Barrier. In Japanese, the mu-koan. In Chinese, the wu-man-guan.
Can you tell me about the Gateless Gate?
We're going to talk a little bit about the Gateless Gate later, actually.
Okay.
It's like probably the most well-known of the Zen koan collections.
Sure.
The term gongang would refer to a passage like the one I read, not because it's like a judicial case, but more so like an authoritative case that has become a touchstone of the faith.
That makes sense.
Kyle, if we were going to like translate and simplify this concept, maybe not in terms of spiritual enlightenment, in terms of like a hard skill, is there something you've come across in music composition that is like difficult to grasp, but gets you to a higher level once you do get it?
Oh, that's really interesting.
Like when you were learning about that, do you feel like there was something that was like a big hump to get over?
Honestly, what a really good parallel for music here is overtones.
Ooh.
Overtones is kind of the natural set of wavelengths, the natural distance of wavelengths that are created by sound. Mm-hmm. And understanding that and understanding how that plays into basically how all of Western music and some of Eastern music is kind of developed out of there gives you like a really greater understanding of music as a tradition.
Yeah, so like that, but this sort of like on the grandest scale of spiritual and philosophical truth. That's kind of, it's like something that is like really hard to wrap your head around, but can be a way to expand your thinking in a really big way.
Spiritual overtones.
Spiritual overtones, that's what they are. So when Chan Buddhism was brought to Japan, where it became known as Zen, these gongans came over as well and became known as koans. And in certain Zen schools, meditating on koans became a much more emphasized and much more standardized thing. The rituals were like way more organized.
Sure.
From around the 13th century, a lot of Japanese Zen monasteries, particularly those of the Rinzai subsect of Zen, started developing koan curricula. They had standard sets of koans to set to students. They'd be like, here's the list of the koans that all the students are going to get. Standard answers to koan questions, sets of check-in questions to verify students' understanding, and standard methods for masters to sort of guide their students towards deeper insights.
Are there like right and wrong answers, or is it more about like right or wrong ways to answer?
That might be a good way to put it, because it's
yes,
what
the answer to that.
the master is wanting from the student is to like tap into like a greater insight. There is correct answers in that, but like it's more about whether you understand those answers and have gotten to that bigger understanding.
Yeah.
A koan curriculum could differ pretty substantially from one monastery to the next, but there were and still are certain koans likely to come up in anyone's Zen instruction. A big one is what's known as the mu-koan, M-U, which goes as follows. A monk asked, "Does a dog have a Buddha nature or not?" The master said, "Moo!" Exclamation point. Yeah.
I think you got something in your throat there, master.
Yeah. So mu, which is a Japanese word whose Chinese equivalent is wu, is a recurring concept in Zen, and honestly a word I've almost done as an episode word. The best way I can explain it to you is to ask you, Kyle, a question for which the answer would be mu. Ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Kyle, have you stopped kicking your cat?
Moo.
You got it. Based on that, what do you think
That's
mu
that's
means?
the best way to describe this to me.
Yes.
Does it just mean of course?
Of course.
Does it mean
Would that be the right answer to that question, Kyle? Have you stopped kicking your cat?
is it WTF? Is that what it means?
So it's sort of like the NA answer, the not applicable answer on surveys. It's a response for when neither yes nor no would be correct because there's just a fundamental false understanding in the question itself.
Because I don't have a cat, and if I did, I wouldn't be kicking it.
Exactly. So
And
to
if I
ask you
did
if you
start
stopped
kicking
kicking
it,
a
I
cat,
wouldn't
you don't
stop.
have. Yeah. So if I asked you that question, it wouldn't make sense to say yes or no because
Right,
it's
yeah.
just fundamentally something's wrong here.
Yeah, it's just moo. That's good. I like that.
It's
I like
a
that.
good word,
We need it. They'd say, "Oh wow, that's a great word." Now I've got a third answer to yes or no questions.
right? Yeah.
God, does that hold up in a court of law?
I don't know. It should. The Gateless Gate collection I mentioned earlier, I'll say again, its Chinese title is Wu Menguan and its Japanese title is mu-koan. The monk who compiled that collection, his name in Chinese is Wu Man, his Japanese name is Mu-man. So the title can mean either that man's gate or Mu Gate, which is where we get Gateless Gate because it's like
Gotcha.
the absence of a gate.
It's gate NA.
Yep. But it's also sort of like a double entendre on his name.
That's what I was getting at before. Love it. That's
Yes.
so good.
Another really common koan is the one-hand clapping example that I read at the top, first posed in the 17th century by a very influential Japanese Zen practitioner named Hakuin Ekaku. In its original form, it was 2 hands clap and there is a sound. What is the sound of 1 hand? But when people say it, they just add clapping to the end because it makes it sort of pithier.
Yeah, it does. I guess it does feel pithier, but the original way feels less like a joke, I guess.
Yes. And it gets at this idea of like duality and non-duality, which is like another big recurring concept in Zen.
Explain non-duality to me.
So like 2 hands clap and there is a sound that immediately sets up 2 forces coming at each other. Non-duality would mean there are not 2 forces, there's just one.
Okay.
You know, or you might say like duality is there are 2 things in conflict or there are 2 things opposing each other, and non-duality is there's just one. There's not something you could draw a line between.
Do you mind telling me, you were saying that plays into the like teachings of Zen Buddhism? Like how does
It's like a recurring concept of, I think, kind of breaking down your perception of duality and changing that perception to non-duality. I think. I am not an expert, but
all right.
Because I think what that. Oh, now we're just getting into it.
I mean, I'm fascinated, so please tell me.
I think this what that koan sort of forces you to think about. You think about like clapping only happens when there are 2 hands.
Right.
So clapping is impossible with one, but the duality is forcing you to think about like, well, what is 1 hand existing by itself? And it like sort of breaks down your understanding of like, do we need duality? You know, I guess that's my very layman approach to that.
I like it. I could write an essay on this.
Ikaku himself and many others have highlighted this as a really valuable breakthrough koan, like a first one to start with to break through your existing assumptions, which I guess you and I have just proven that it is.
Yeah, it works really well. 500 years later, it's still kicking.
Good one to start with.
It's still clapping.
Zen, as I said earlier, Zen came to the West around the late 1800s, but there was a particular wave of interest in the mid 20th century with the sort of disillusionment following World War II. A lot of people started to look for new things to believe in. It was wrapped up in the Beat movement, Jack Kerouac. It was part of that larger hippie interest in Eastern religion. That's also when we started using the word Zen colloquially to mean like calm, meditative. So here, the word koan gets used true-ish to the Zen concept. It might refer to statements or questions from a spectrum of religions and from philosophy that have that kind of paradoxical nature that kind of push you to expand your thinking. Taking a step away from spirituality, though, koan is sometimes used to mean a concise statement or story that, once you get it, expands your understanding of something, of anything, whatever you're applying it to.
It's kind of like just a little bit bigger picture of what like the use of koan is, right?
Yeah, just expanding it and maybe simplifying it in that way a little bit. You actually see this usage come up a lot in the context of programming and learning a new coding language.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
But I guess that makes sense because the people in the 70s and 80s who would be switching to Zen Buddhism were probably the same people who were getting on computers at the time.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, we talked about this a little bit in episode 33, Grok. There was this sort of whole movement to talk about coding in these sort of like spacier terms.
It's a part of the counterculture.
Exactly. So a koan can be a really short bit of code that has so many shortcuts and things that like only make sense in this programming language that you can only understand why it works if you really know that language.
Interesting.
Yeah. Probably furthest away from the Zen usage, but probably the most used and most easily accessible. A koan is also just used to mean a question or statement that is contradicting or confusing. And I've seen it used to mean just confusing at face value, but I've also seen it used sort of bitingly describing a statement that's trying to be pithy and enigmatic. In a 2015 article, Getting the James Bond Song Right, New Yorker columnist Ian Crouch writes, "What songwriters would come up with such baddie koans as Tomorrow Never Dies or You Only Live Twice on their own?"
Wait, explain to me again how it's being used in this sense?
To just mean a statement that is contradicting and trying to be pithy.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he's saying the title's Tomorrow Never Dies or You Only Live Twice.
Yeah.
This sort of using the word koan sarcastically almost.
I mean, I like that for covering a word like something that we needed a word for, Yeah. But I don't know if koan's the right
it's like very distilled from its true meaning. But it's how it gets used. Now, Kyle, I would like you to come up with a baddie koan and use this word in a sentence.
Emily, wow. Love this. I've learned so much today.
It's heady and it's long, and I apologize.
No, it's really interesting. Honestly, the one thing that I want to know, so I have a question I want to ask. Okay. But now I'm wondering if I can make the sentence a koan and the question that I want to ask using koan. So
You're setting yourself a lot of constraints here, but I'm excited.
Yeah. To many, a koan is but a word that encapsulates an idea. But what does koan mean to Emily? Is what I'd like to know.
I mean, I guess good sentence. I don't know. There are actually some schools that boil it down to a single word. There was like a whole approach to koans that I didn't have time to talk about, where they would you would just meditate on part of the koan, like a very concise word or phrase.
Oh, sure, yeah.
It's all super fascinating.
I am curious. I don't want to out you on the podcast.
Feel free. You're not outing me.
You were born from the Buddhist tradition. Your parents are Buddhists. You grew up in a Buddhist household. I'm curious as to how koans played a part in your upbringing.
So This has never come up for me. I was raised in a Japanese sect of Buddhism, but a different one that is less focused on sort of like seated meditation and a lot of mental work. It was more about daily practice kinds of things. So this. I am not an expert in koans. I am just as much a novice as you, but I do have a sort of like background grounding in how Eastern Buddhism thinks.
Emily, this episode has been very meditative for me. So
glad.
what I assume is better to end a meditative episode than a rousing
Than a silly
word
little game.
Yeah.
Kyle, the game I have for you is called Little Gifts, Japanese edition.
Oh.
Kyle, you and our listeners might remember back in episode 86, Cumshaw, I asked you about some words that English has borrowed from Chinese, specifically aiming for those terms that have really entered our day-to-day lexicon. They don't feel like borrowed words. And I would like to now ask you some similar questions about words that English has borrowed from Japanese.
Okay.
I'm going to start with a super easy one. Kyle, what word is a borrowing of the Japanese compound for picture and character?
I don't know.
I can give you a hint that it's in the tech industry.
Oh, picture and character. Is it emoticon?
It's not emoticon.
Oh, it's emoji.
It's emoji. Yes. The et is picture and moji is character, which means emoji is unrelated to words like emoticon or emote.
I actually did learn this in Because Internet, but I forgot. So
I'm glad I could remind you. It's a fun fact. It's like crazy because you look at it and you assume it must be related to emoticon, but it's not.
It's crazy, and RIP emoticons, you know?
Never dead for me. I got another one that I think you'll get. What word is a borrowing of the Japanese compound harbor and waves?
Is it tsunami?
It is!
Wow.
Yes. Yep. Used in Japanese since the 1600s, came to English in 1896 in reference to a particular tsunami that struck Japan in June of that year.
Wow. Oh. Wow.
It was just like came over as part of that news story, and we've been using it ever since.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. Sad, but fun.
Sad, but fun. Which is a rough combo.
It is a rough combo.
Kyle, the questions get trickier here.
Okay.
What word is an alternate spelling of a Japanese compound meaning great lord? In English, it might refer to someone who is lordly in the corporate world.
Lordly in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Honestly, immediately I went to Don as but I mean, not as solely, but like as a part of the word, but I guess it's not.
No, it is not. I don't know how to give you any further hints.
That's fine. You said lordly in the corporate world.
Yeah.
And this is an alternate spelling of these
so
two
it doesn't
words
look like a Japanese word because we've respelled it.
Lordly in the corporate world.
If someone's like a big figure in the corporate world.
A big wig. Head honcho. Honcho.
No. But that does sound like it could be. I think it's probably not. Kyle, it is tycoon.
Oh, tycoon.
It was first used in English to refer to Japanese shogun from the mid-1800s, expanded to mean any important person, first when it was used in reference to Abe Lincoln by his secretary, John Hay.
That's insane.
Yep,
That's insane.
So Abe Lincoln was the first American tycoon.
Wow.
But then later it expanded. It sort of re-narrowed, I guess, to mean people who are like wealthy and powerful in business.
Emily, I would have gotten there if you gave me the hints roller coaster or zoo. That would have gotten me there.
I should have thought of roller coaster. My bad.
Yeah.
Kyle, you're going to love this last one. What phrase originated as a wase ego, made up of Japanese borrowings of English words, in this case borrowed back from Japanese into English, but just as the original English words, and might in English refer to scantily clad women in an anime?
Oh.
When you add scantily clad women to an anime.
When you add scantily clad.
When the writers do, not you as a viewer.
I mean, I do always as a viewer. It's like sriracha sauce, it's just like, well, I gotta put a topping on this. When the writers add it, so this is like a verb?
No,
Adjective?
it refers to a noun for like the thing that the writers are doing by putting scantily clad women in an anime.
I don't know, Em.
Have you ever heard the term fan service?
Wait, fan service?
Fan service is a wase ego.
Oh my gosh.
It is from fansa abisu, sometimes shortened to fansa, which generally in Japanese refers to something a celebrity does to please their fans, non-specific. We use the term fan service often specifically to mean like racy or sexualized content that's like clearly for the male gaze or whoever. In Japanese, when referring to that kind of content, they use another wase ego, sabisu kato, or service cut.
I always thought of it as more like creators responding to the needs of their fans. But I guess like in the sense that fans might want scantily clad women, that is certainly true. And I could see how it had been used that way.
Yeah, I think in any context, if you see like a show or a celebrity or a brand doing something that's like, clearly they are only doing this because their audience wants it, that's fan service.
I had no idea it was a wase ego.
Isn't
That's
that
so
crazy?
Fun. Yeah.
Kyle, it was a long one, but that's what I got.
It was a great episode, Emily. I think perhaps this episode itself could be a koan, a question for me to meditate over.
Sure.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information for me to mull over.
Yeah. And I hope you, our audience, took something maybe deeper away from this episode.
I hope you did too. And I hope at least a part of taking away something deeper from this episode is remembering to watch us on YouTube at ButterNoParsnips and finding us on other social media on Facebook and Instagram at ButterNoParsnips Podcast and on TikTok at ButterNoParsnips. And also, if you can meditate over whether or not you liked today's episode, in that meditation, consider giving us a 5-star rating or review wherever you heard us.
Perfect. And if you really liked today's episode, consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/ButterNoParsnips. Donating $5 or more gets you exclusive access to Buttered Parsnips, our After Hours podcast.
Thanks so much to all of you. You help us make what we make.
And with that, I've been Emily Moyers.
And I've been Kyle Imperator, and this has been Butter No Parsnips.
Butter No Parsnips is produced by Seth Glicksman, Kyle Imperator, and myself, Emily Moyers. The main and accompanying themes were composed by Kyle Imperator.